Hey, oops. Well, there's that. That's embarrassing. I don't think anybody was on yet. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another Fasting Work Girl Chat. Today, okay, there we go. Sorry, I'm having a couple technical difficulties. All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Fasting Work Girl Chat. Today, I am going to be joined by the stair lady, Elena. She has lost over 100 pounds naturally. And so I definitely want us to have a chance to talk with her about her journey. She is keto, low carb. And so I know there's a lot of contradicting information out there going back and forth about keto, etc. Is it healthy? Is it not? Et cetera, et cetera. So that is what we will be looking at. So there is Elena, and let me see if I can send her. Yep, says go live with. And all right, there we go. Hi, Elena.
There we go. I was checking to see if my Wi-Fi was on. It's on. We're good.
Oh, okay. And my stand kept falling, so I was having technical difficulties. But okay, I think we got it now. So
I think so too.
I'm going to give everyone the quick disclaimer that I always give. I know I sound like a broken record, but everyone, hello. Welcome to another Fasting Work Girl Chat. Tonight, I am joined with the Stair Lady. So if you are not already following her, you are going to want to follow her. So just make sure you do that right now. But Elena has lost over 100 pounds naturally through using a ketogenic diet, also incorporating intermittent fasting. And so while we will discuss her personal journey, I'm not your physician, and so if you see anything that you want to discuss with your care provider, you should do that with them because we do not know your personal situation. So this is for informational purposes only, so you can empower yourself in research, but you still need to talk to your care provider, okay? So with that said, I know obviously people who are already following you, Elena, are familiar with your story, but why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself for people who may not be familiar? If you don't mind sharing kind of what was your highest weight, how much weight have you lost, just kind of a little bit of background on yourself.
Sure, yeah. Well, my highest weight, I know we didn't talk about this earlier, but my highest weight ever has actually been 335 pounds.
Okay.
That's been my highest weight ever. And I lost weight when I got married, you know, and after I had kids, I gained a lot of weight back, and I slowly started going up. And then I ended up when I started keto, which was 2 years ago this month. I started at 256 pounds.
Okay.
So that was my starting weight. That was, my highest weight that I saw prior to keto. And it's been 2 years. I've been in maintenance mode for about a year already. Okay. Yeah, so it's been pretty good. And the funny part about maintenance is I've been in kind of maintenance mode for the past year, but I still have dropped a couple of inches, which is it's weird how body composition works, but
right.
Which is, I'll take it. I'm not complaining.
Exactly.
I'm not complaining. But yeah, it's been a wild ride. Like I said, I started keto 2 years ago, and I started it because it's just, I started feeling uncomfortable with my everyday activities. There was a combination of that, a combination of my daughter also needing to change her lifestyle, her eating habits, because she was starting to have some health issues as well. Mm-hmm. So it just kind of, worked together, and it was meant to be. And it's the only thing that has helped me, basically. Sorry about my dog. The only thing that has helped me to get started on this. And like you said, intermittent fasting, it was something that kind of helped me structure, kind of helped me it's like taking medicine, you know, like you have to set an alarm and you know that you have those times and like these are my times to eat, and it just kind of helps you. It kind of, you know, helps you stay accountable as well as in what you're eating. So in the beginning, I did, you know, I practiced a 16/8 intermittent fasting, which was something that was comfortable for me to ease into keto. And then afterwards, naturally, and I always say this, naturally, you kind of start progressing in your fasting, you know, and then it gets to a point where you literally could go all day without eating, and eat once a day. Like if you really listen to your body, you could definitely go all day with just eating one meal, and it's not a big deal. And people can look at you funny and say what they want. I love to eat, honestly. I live for food. I love to eat, and like OMAD is not for me. Just because if I see my kids eating something or my husband eating something, I want to be part of that. You know, like I want to be chewing along with them, and so OMAD is not for me simply because I like to eat with my family. I enjoy, you know, eating with them. So, but the 16/8 is perfect. You know, it's like you have breakfast, you have lunch, and you have your dinner. And it's just something that kind of like a little clockwork, you know, it helps you chug along until you're comfortable enough to sometimes go days and say, today I'll eat one time. I hate these dogs.
Well, and I think the nice thing is too, you combine like the 16/8 with nutritional changes too. And so I think that, you know, by also looking at your diet, your lifestyle, and then also, you know, combining intermittent fasting, I think obviously those are going to be really good results. Where I think other people may find more difficulty with 16/18 if during their eating window it's still a bunch of processed foods. So I think that's going to affect the results. And sometimes people believe that intermittent fasting is an excuse just to eat whatever you want. And I try to tell people, no, you also got to hone in on your nutrition. Like I personally think they go hand in hand. But yeah, that's me. Now, how did your keto look like when you first started?
It was clean. I mean, it was like a bone. It was super clean, super basic. Morning, I was having scrambled eggs with like 1 tablespoon of butter. I would have spinach sometimes with my eggs, or sometimes I would have just cheese or an avocado, like half an avocado. It was very basic. And then in the afternoon, same thing. I would have chicken with cheese and spinach, and then like some bacon along with it, or I love Brussels sprouts, but I don't have them as much because they are a little higher in carbs, and I really want like the whole thing. Like I want a whole bag of Brussels sprouts because I love Brussels sprouts. So I really have to control myself with that. Okay. And but you know, I do like to have my vegetables along with my protein. And then at night, usually I will have a smoothie because I work out in the evening. So I don't like to have like a big dinner unless like I don't work out. Then I can have a big dinner earlier, but I don't like to have a big dinner like so close to bedtime. So like I'll have a smoothie instead. And so what I would do to get some fat in was put a little bit of coconut oil in it, or something along those lines. But it was always like the end of the day was the goal to have everything rounded out to those macros. And it was very, very, like I said, basic. And
the good thing is, or the thing that you mentioned, one, you did have vegetables. So granted, they weren't very starchy vegetables. They're going to be vegetables that are lower in carb. But I think there's this misconception that because you're keto, you will only eat bacon and sticks of butter. Like it's just give me all the butter, butter smoothies. And that's not, so to be clear, I think when people are researching different things, I have seen a lot of people start off with the butter and the coffee and the bacon and doing that.
Was me.
And so
that was me the first week. The first week, that I started, you know, like I remember I would tell my friends I put butter in my coffee, and they were like, ew, you know? And I was like, no, it actually tastes pretty good. I mean, it actually does taste pretty good. It doesn't taste bad at all, you know?
Uh-huh.
But just the thought of it would gross my friends out, you know, like that's disgusting. Like, why would you put butter in your coffee? And I'm like, no, it's a keto thing. Like, it's a bulletproof coffee, and it's going to help me, and it's going to put me in ketosis, which is another misconception that, you know, bulletproof coffee is going to put you in ketosis. No, it's not. It's not going to put you in ketosis. Staying under 20 carbs will put you in ketosis.
Right.
The fat won't put you, like, I don't care if you have like angel fat. It's not going to like put you in ketosis, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It can come from a grass-fed cow or like whatever cow. It's not going to put you in ketosis. Being under 20 carbs is going to keep you under ketosis. So in the beginning, that's the misconception, that you're like, oh, I got to hit my fats. I got to hit my fats. I got to hit my fats, you know, in order to be in this thing. And then as I went on and researched more, I was like, oh, I don't have to hit my fats because I am fat. Like, I have to burn off this fat.
You have to burn your own fat.
So, you know, it made sense to me to not hit the fat, you know, like, okay, so I'm not going to hit this fat. What I'm going to do is, you know, like, if I hit it, cool. But if not, I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going to worry about keeping my protein where it's supposed to be. Yeah. And then, like, obviously keeping my carbs under 20. And that's really what I focus on, because I had a big amount of weight to lose. I mean, it's not like when the closer you get to goal weight, yeah, the more fat you need to sustain your energy and all that stuff.
Right.
But I wasn't nowhere near my goal weight, you know? Mm-hmm. I needed to stop the fat. Like, so I stopped Bulletproof coffee. I stopped all of that stuff. And then, like, the weight started, like, just falling off, you know, just started coming off super quick. It wasn't as I don't think it was as noticeable on my body as much as it was on the scale. Mm-hmm. And then after, I want to say, like, after I had lost about 60 pounds, that's when it became super noticeable, super fast, you know? Okay. Then everybody was like, oh my God, what are you doing? And I was like, really? I've already lost 60, 70 pounds. Like, now you're noticing this, you know? So it's like, I kind of already lost 70 pounds, like, but thanks, you know? But it just kind of started happening super quick after that. It was so funny, because when I tell the story all the time, we went to Mexico and my husband had lost 25 pounds and I had lost 40 pounds. And everyone's like, oh my God, you look so thin. And I'm like, and they were talking to him, and I was like, right. But I lost 40 pounds and he lost 20. No, I have lost more weight. But yeah, like, he was getting more attention for it. And I was just like, you know, I didn't let it discourage me. I just kept going, and I was like, I know what I'm doing is good. So it's not, you know, it is what it is. Right. So yeah. So I just kept going, you know, and kept modifying it as I went along, and you know, I just kind of kept tweaking it for myself as I went. So I noticed something was working and then stopped working, so I would do something a little bit different, but it was always small tweaks. It was never something drastic, like, I'm gonna, like, you know, fast a week just drinking water. It was never something like that. Or I'm going to go on an egg fast, because I hear these all the time. Like, oh, go on an egg fast so you can drop 10 pounds in a week. Yeah. And I'm like, no, you know, just eat right, and it's going to happen for you. Like, what are you going to do? Go on these fasts and get into ketosis a day sooner. Whoop-de-doo, you know? But like, you're training your mind a little bit differently when you're trying to get like a shortcut, I want to say. Like, you know, you're trying to find a shortcut to get there. Just do it the right way, and it might take you a day or two longer, but, you know, you're training your mind to go back to it in a healthy way, you know, to where if you do plan a cheat meal or a cheat day, it's easy for you to go back, because you know that's always an option, and you can always just go back to a normal eating habit, because now I call it a normal eating habit. Right. And it's okay. Like, it's going to take me a few days, but I'll get there again. Right. It's not a big deal.
Well, and I think, so you mentioned several things. So as I already mentioned, if you guys aren't already following Elena, you should do that. But also, there's someone who I actually think is also really good. I don't know if you follow her or not. Ketogenic Girl. She has a podcast.
Yes, I do follow her.
But she talks about also how she doesn't really do the bulletproof coffees anymore on a regular basis, or adding the MCT oils or these different fat things, because so if we're looking at your body as fuel, right, the human body is designed to be efficient. So if you give it extra stuff to burn, before it digs into your own fat stores, it's gonna burn whatever else is there. And so
Yeah.
you may be, giving yourself these MCT oils and exogenous ketones and, the fat bombs and things like that. Okay, your body's like, cool, I got fuel. So I'm gonna keep storing away this fat on my body because you're giving me plenty of
More
other
stuff
stuff to
to
run
burn
on
off.
fuel. So
Yeah.
the whole point of being low carb, or when we talk about people being in ketosis, is to be in ketosis naturally through your body burning your own fat as fuel, which is why you can continue to notice improved body composition even without weight loss. So you may gain muscle mass, but you're like, oh my gosh, I lost 3 inches off my weights, but the scale didn't change. How did I drop a pant size? And that's because the body is designed to try to get rid of that visceral fat, that pathologic fat first that hangs around the midsection. And that's what we're trying to burn. So that's why, I'm not trying to put down anyone, because I see questions, and I'm going to scroll back up because people have questions for you. When they're like, oh no, don't tell me I have to give up my bulletproof coffee. So I'm not telling you have to do anything, right? Like, you do you, but I'm just saying.
Trust me, I am one of those people that I actually like bulletproof coffee. Yeah. And then I modified my coffee to, where I could still enjoy a nice, like, frothy cup of coffee, but it's not a friggin' 400-calorie cup of coffee with a bunch of fat in it. Like, my coffee now consists of, I want to say 75 calories. Okay. Because I do add 1 tablespoon of heavy cream and 2 tablespoons of almond creamer, and I froth it all up to make a beautiful cup of coffee and enjoy the crap out of it. Because I'm telling you, I'm a coffeeholic. Yeah. So, and whenever you drink coffee, you kind of want to have that milky, creamy coffee sometimes, and that's what a lot of people look for. But you don't have to have that 400, 500 calorie cup of coffee.
Right. Yeah. And I just, also everything is a money industry, right? Like, in terms of, not to sound like conspiracy theorists, but like,
it's true,
products and things that are marketed to you, right? So you're going to see, take these ketones, take these, whatever, take this, help you lose weight. And the crux of all these natural whole food based diets are that if you just spend your money on the actual nutrition part, that a lot of times you don't need the other things. So just, just kind of at least keep that school of thoughts. I'm not, trying to down anybody who may use those products.
Oh no, yeah, I'm definitely not knocking it down, but like I always say, I've never invested a dime in any product, any meal plans, any coach or anything like that. I did what felt right for me. I did what made sense for me, and and it ended up working because it made sense to me. It's something that I could stick to and I could stay consistent to. And then the more I read, because God knows that I was stuck on my phone reading a lot of nights about what if something was good for me or not good for me, because you have all these people when they hear you're on keto, you have all these people like, oh, that's not healthy. Oh, your cholesterol is going to go up. Oh, this or that. Like they're all worried about you, but they weren't worried about you when you were like stuffing your face with donuts and all that junk. Right. So when people start questioning, I'm like, oh well, I want an answer so I could tell you why it's okay for me to do this, So every time I would get a question, I would go and read like why the opposite of whatever they're thinking, and that way I can have a clear answer to say next time someone questioned me. But then it got to a point where I was like, you know what, I'm not even going to mention this. Like, I'm not even going to tell people that I'm on keto. I don't want to hear like that negativity, or, sometimes just hearing it kind of like drags you down. And so I was like, I'm going to do me. I'm going to keep going on this journey. And sooner or later, someone's going to ask, what did you do? And then
Right.
I'm going to say, oh, I did keto.
Right.
And then whenever they tell me, but keto is bad for you, is it really? Because I have lab results that tell me that it's amazing for me. And I have, this that tells me that it's working wonders for my family and
Hmm.
for me. And, like you had mentioned earlier, it's not for everybody.
Right.
And I always say, like, find something that you're comfortable with and stick to it. It's going to work.
Right.
Whether it be, a low carb diet or a keto diet or a all vegetarian diet
Right.
or pescatarian or whatever kind of
Right.
tarian diet you want to do, you know? So it'll work if you're consistent in it.
Yes, and I think the thing that I love about like being open, truly open to lifestyle medicine is not trying to prescribe a way of eating for everyone because there's not one set approach, right? The human body, if it could only thrive under one set of circumstances, we would have been extinct a long time ago because food scarcity changes, environments change. Like we're just not that, we're not that fragile of a being, right? Like our bodies just don't break like that. So we have been actually somehow being able to live on the standard American diet, which is probably like the worst diet with 142 grams of processed sugar a year, or not grams, sorry, pounds of processed sugar a year,
Mm-hmm.
all these processed foods, lab foods, all these things. But to be fair, our body and society is starting to show the tolls of that with obesity, increasing cancer
Oh,
rates,
yeah.
metabolic syndrome, infertility, like you name it, it is linked to our diets. And so
Yeah.
the thing is, though, that you can take people who are doing true keto in terms of keto, meaning they're eating whole foods,
Mm-hmm.
they're not processed. The majority of their foods are whole foods, and also see people thrive on plant-based or vegetarian. The issue I have with with actually a lot of the studies that are out right now is that studies will come out and they try to extrapolate that these processed diets that they're talking about, and then how you're not eating enough vegetables, which again, I don't have a problem with vegetables. I love vegetables. I treat
Yeah.
fruit though like it's dessert because fruit was nature's
Yeah.
original candy, but that's me.
Yep.
But they try to extrapolate it and say, well, because of this and this processed lifestyle, that means any diet that contains meat is bad. And that's not true. We don't know how the effect of excess sugar plus the combination of processed meat. Did we ever think it's more of that link? The studies don't, we haven't studied at a population level long term of keto, people doing
Mm-hmm.
it cleanly and
Oh,
correctly.
yeah.
However, there are different academies that have different keto institutes, reputable places. The Eeks Foundation is one of them. Or I'm sorry, the Noakes Foundation, excuse me, is one of them based out of South Africa that has tons of research showing keto being used for epilepsy, longevity. And the thing I want to circle back before I get off on my soapbox, sorry, is your lab work when you mentioned your lab work, because
Yes. I was going to go back to that too.
yes, you're eating fat. Now, granted, you're not just shoving your face with fat, but you're eating a higher fat, basically, diet. And I want to hear about your lab results. I'm sure your cholesterol is horrible, right? Like horrible.
Yeah, the worst. Let me tell you. So I've never had an issue actually with cholesterol. Even at my biggest weight, I never had an issue, luckily with that, funny enough, like I was telling you earlier, my husband, he's very thin. He has an athletic build. He looks like a normal, thin, healthy guy. He had high cholesterol. He had high triglycerides. So it was like he had the health issues. I was perfectly healthy. So my lab results have always been consistent. I've never had any issues. I think the only issue I've ever had was anemia when I was, when I had my kids.
Okay.
And I mean, but I think most of women go through that. But
That's
other
really
than that,
common.
yeah, other than that, I've been pretty healthy. I haven't had any issues. He had that problem. And we get tested at the same time, even though he always tells me, oh, I'm sure I'm fine. If you're fine, I'm fine. You get checked and I'll be fine. I'm like, no. Doesn't work that way. We got to check you too. So he has to get the blood work done too. And it's been, I don't remember the last time he had high cholesterol. Since we started, I want to say like really shortly after, everything went back to normal. My daughter as well, you know, the whole reason I started this was partly because of her, you know, a big part because of her. She had a fatty liver, she had high cholesterol, she had high triglycerides. I mean, she's insulin resistant, she's gluten intolerant. Like she had like a lot of stuff going on, you know?
Mhm.
So recently we went back for her yearly checkup with her pediatrician, and he was like, whoa, you know, what is going on? Like everything, she's normal. Everything's back to normal. And I was like, are you serious? I was in shock. I mean, like when I left that clinic, I left feeling like Superwoman. That was like that was like, forget about the 100-pound weight loss. Forget about any of this, you know, any of these accomplishments. That was my accomplishment. Like that was all that I wanted. I just wanted a clean bill of health. That's it for her.
Yeah.
You know, and it was like, when he told me that, I literally teared up. I mean, I was like looking at my husband like I couldn't believe this. And we were just overjoyed. And he's like, whatever you're doing, keep doing it. And I was like, oh, great, you know? So he didn't remember me. Like he even asked me, like, were you here with her last time? Or was it, you know, her aunt or somebody else? And I was like, no, it was me. And he was like, really? You look really different. I was like, well, yeah, I myself got on this diet and I've managed to lose 100 pounds. And he's like, what? So he's like, and how did you do it? I'm like, on the keto diet. And he's like, oh, but she can't do that. And I'm like, well, that's what she's been doing. So, and he's like, she's been on this diet with you? And I'm like, yes, she's been on this diet with me. We've all been eating this food. We've all been eating the same things. You know, this is how I got her here, you know? And he's like, no, but there has to be something wrong. And like, he kept going over and over how this was so bad and how it's bad for us in the long run. And I was like, we've been doing this for almost 2 years. And he was like, are you serious? And I said, yeah, I've been doing this for almost 2 years. And he's like, have you gotten your blood work done? I'm like, here's my lab results and here's my husband's lab results. And he was just like, staring at them, and like I could literally see his brain like almost twisting inside of his head, like, what is going on? This diet is supposed to be bad for people, and like yet here I have 3 people in front of me with good lab work, you know? So it's like,
who are thriving and self-healing.
Yeah. So he started asking me, well, what are you eating? Or like, what is, you know, like he started asking me all these questions about the keto diet. Like, how do you do it? What are you eating? So I was like, do you want me to show you? I can show you. I have my Instagram where I save a lot of my foods. And I told him, and I showed him, and he goes, but all that food looks healthy. Yeah, it's not all butter and bacon and nothing but greasy food. Yeah, like, no, we do have vegetables, and we do have, you know, good food too, and lean meats, and, you know, we do take care of ourselves. And he's like, I don't see any problem with this. He's like, as long as you keep, you know, bringing me back a clean bill of health, you can do this for as long as you want to. He's like, I do want to monitor you in the upcoming months, and kind of like he's literally using us like guinea pigs right now, because he's curious as to whether he wants to introduce this to other patients. Yeah, exactly. So because he was like, it's just I've never met anybody that's done it for that long and that is okay, you know? So it was pretty interesting to be sitting across that desk and explaining to him all of this. And I'm like, I'm not a doctor, dude. Like, I'm just a mom that wanted a healthy kid. That's all, you know, like, that's all that I am right now. And, you know, as a side effect, I lost weight too. But, you know, like my main purpose was for her to be healthy as well. You know, like, I'm glad that I got myself healthy as well. But that was our main goal. And, you know, I'm super happy with the way things have been going. Now we're working on other things for her and, you know, trying to get her more active and more, you know, like doing other stuff. But my main goal was to get her health under control. Right. And yeah, like I look forward to these. And now every time I get blood work done, I'm like, right there.
Look at my blood work.
Right there. Get it. Get that blood.
I will give you the vein.
Yeah, I'm like, you want me? I can squeeze it for you.
Well, no, and I think so. a few things. It's for practitioners. So if we have any healthcare providers listening tonight, but one thing I would say you could share with your pediatrician, since your pediatrician seems very open, there is something called the Nutrition Network. It's by the Noakes Foundation. They basically do tons of low carb keto research, and it basically is a course that's over several weeks that teaches physicians and any healthcare provider who's interested on more on how to be a low carb practitioner. So that is just a really good resource if people want something that is based in evidence, not just a bunch of blog posts. And I'm not saying anything's wrong with blog posts, but I'm just saying, like, if we're going to prescribe something in the office, it probably should not just be based on blog posts. We should have like articles and studies. So that's what I mean.
Have backup. Yeah, like exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, it's so funny because I've been doing this for, I don't know, like 2 months, 3 months, I don't know. And I just got back from the doctor and my cholesterol is up. And I'm like, oh, well, what are you eating? Oh, well, you know, and they'll name all kinds of fat. I'm doing Bulletproof coffee. I'm doing this. I'm doing, you know, like all these fats. And I'm like,
overloading. Yeah.
How much weight do you want to lose? Well, I want to lose 100 pounds. Yeah, well, you know, maybe try eating a healthy fat like an avocado or a coconut, you know, coconut oil, something that will help you if you're going to eat the fats. That's the fat you want to go for. You know, there's nothing wrong with butter and all that stuff, and you can have it. Obviously, we can have it. I have it all the time, but there has got to be a balance.
Right. And definitely, and in moderation. And I think just like you've said, and other different people on Instagram who have large followings, they've all talked about how they have, you know, I don't want to say dialed back on fat, like they're doing a low fat diet per se, but they're certainly not, you know, doing what I think the stereotype of keto is, which is just fat bombs after fat bombs after fat bombs, because you're really supposed to be using your own fat. And so that's the thing. So we've gotten, let me scroll through because we've gotten a ton of questions and I know it's getting near the end. I usually try not to talk longer than 30 minutes because I don't know how many people actually watch for that long. But so let's see. A person named Alex Green had a question for you early on. Do you ever use an app, Carb Manager? I find it really
I do, yeah.
Tracking that.
I do use Carb Manager, yeah. I actually switched over late in the game because like I was so stuck on my MyFitnessPal for the longest time.
Yeah.
And for me, math comes pretty easily to me, so I can do it all in my head where I can subtract the fiber and the sugar alcohols. So it wasn't a big deal for me. But when I switched over to Carb Manager, it was like I don't even have to think about this. Like I could just take a picture of it and it calculates my net carbs for me, and it's just the easiest thing on the planet. Yeah. So I enjoy Carb Manager. Yeah. But I don't go based off of their calculator. Like I do my own macros on my own time. Like over here, I love the keto calculator on Rule to Me. So I use that keto calculator to calculate my macros. And I always base it on my goal weight. You know, like I've done it since the beginning. I always base it on my goal weight. And I pretend that I'm at my goal weight and that I don't do any exercise. So that way, if I do any exercise, it's just going to benefit me in my goal. Yeah, so it's just bonus, exactly. And I never eat back my calories. So I know that someone's going to ask that. I never eat back my calories. I pretend they didn't even happen. Like I didn't burn off anything. I didn't even go to the gym. It's blah, 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 blah. I didn't happen.
Yeah. Yes, because that can be a slippery slope because you think
it could be a very slippery slope. Yeah, like you're rewarding yourself for exercising. No, I burn those calories and I want to forget about them. It's just, you know, it's not going to happen. Unless I'm burning like 2,000 calories, which almost no one does.
Right.
Then
maybe after you run the Boston Marathon or something.
Yeah, exactly. Like, then maybe you want to like, you know, eat some calories back. But if you're going to the gym for 30 minutes or an hour, chances are you're not going to burn more than 600 calories if you go for an hour full throttle. So calm down. It's fine, you know?
Exactly. And then it's, I think it's Shannon. It's like _ Annan. But she asked, speaking of being a speaking as a coffee addict, why did you need to stop Bulletproof coffee? I think you kind of already addressed that. I think we kind of hit that over the head. And it's not that you stopped. It's just that
I modified it to be less calories, and because a Bulletproof coffee is like a meal. I love to eat, so I would much rather eat my calories than drink them. I'm not, and I drink like 3 or 4 cups of coffee in the morning, so I'm not gonna be drinking 2,000 calories in my coffee in the morning. So
that'd be
nothing. Like it would not help me at all.
No.
So what I do is I took out the oil, I took out the butter, I left in 1 tablespoon of heavy cream, that's my fat, and 2 tablespoons of almond creamer, which is also fat. There's not as much fat as as much as heavy cream, but it also doesn't have as many calories as heavy cream. So my coffee now goes anywhere between 50 calories to 75. So and then after that, if I have more cups of coffee, I just put some almond creamer in it, and I'm okay with that. So, but my first cup of coffee has to be like the golden one, like the one that's gonna set my day, Like, so that one's like the untouchable cup. Like it has to be perfect every day.
Well, and so no, that's good for people to know. And then also, the follow-up question after that was, no, I like my coffee. What can I do instead of Bulletproof? So you just gave a perfect example. And then this question was, how did you figure out how much protein you needed? That's from I'm Liz C311.
So the keto calculator on Ruled Me actually helps you with all of that. So whenever you go there, it asks you a couple of questions based on your height, your weight, your age, your activity level, all of that stuff, and it calculates your macros for you. So it tells you how many calories, it tells you how much fat, how much protein, and obviously how many carbs, which you want to stay under 20. So that will help you, with that.
Okay. Then someone, JM0512, said, I always get stuck. I lose 1 pound and then I get stuck for a week or 2. It gets annoying. What could I be doing wrong?
You may not be drinking enough water, because water is super important for you to drop that weight. It flushes you out. So you want to make sure that you're drinking at least half your weight in ounces in water. I try to hit a gallon, which is 128 ounces of water. So I try to hit, and I notice that when I drink more water, it flushes me out. It like unswells me. It helps me drop the weight faster. So make sure you're drinking water. That's the first thing. Make sure you're not snacking, because that will mess with you.
All the insulin spikes.
Exactly. That will mess with you. Your body's like it goes crazy. So if you're not snacking, it's going to help you maintain a steady rhythm of weight loss. So that's why intermittent fasting, it comes into play here, because if you start with a 16-8, you're going to eat breakfast at 10, lunch at 2, dinner at 6, and then in between you're going to be drinking water, tea, coffee, and all that stuff, and I don't consider, whenever I'm doing intermittent fasting, and I have my coffee at 7 o'clock in the morning almost every day. My first coffee is at 7 or 7:30. I don't consider a splash, and I weigh out my splash. It's not like, oh, just let me put a little, no.
Splash.
No, because a little splash can turn into 150 calories right there. So I literally weigh out my creamer mix, and I have my creamer mix on my highlights. I know y'all are going to ask about that. My creamer mix is in my highlights.
Okay.
I weigh out my creamer mix, and it's the same every single day. So I know that I'm not going, I try to keep it under 50 calories, so that way I don't break my fast, because that's what I consider breaking my fast. But everybody's break is different. But for me, if I don't go over 50 calories or 0 carbs, I'm good. So that little bit of creamer is not gonna hinder my weight loss. It hasn't yet. I do sweeten my coffee as well with Pure. I put a little squirt of Pure in it, and that's it. basic coffee, nothing, nothing crazy.
Magical,
it's just coffee.
Right.
No mocha, blah, 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 none of that.
Yeah, because that has a whole bunch of stuff in it. Who is this? This says, Kiss My Jazz XO. How do you know if you're consuming too much fat? I think we kind of touched on this, but you know, I think that's going to be different for everyone. But if you're not getting the weight loss that you're expecting, I would look back at your macros and see if you are doing it too heavy on your fats. Well,
not only that, if you go over on protein, you could also be like, you know, also that's maybe a reason why you're not losing weight. If you go over on protein, that could potentially come in, you know, become carbs as well. So you want to make sure that if you do go over, it's not like by a huge amount, you know, and that you're exercising to kind of justify that extra little protein. But if you're not exercising, you don't want to go over that protein. So yeah, no, definitely not. But yeah, you have to weigh your food. You like, there's no way around it. You know, like I'm all for people that do intuitive eating and like, cool. If it works for you, that's awesome. There's going to be a point where it's not going to work. And you're going to have to start measuring your food if you want to hit that last 20 pounds or whatever, however much you want to lose or get to the size that you want to be. There's going to be a point where you have to measure your food and kind of like know what a serving is. Like right now, if you put a bowl of broccoli in front of me, I can tell you how much broccoli is 85 grams because I've already done it so much that I don't need to really weigh my food. I could just grab it and like put it on my plate and I know exactly how much 100 grams of meat is or whatever, you know, like I could tell you pretty much. I did it for so long that it just, you become aware of how much you're eating. So in the beginning, people are like, oh, but that's too hard. Well, I mean, yeah, it's too hard, but it's worth it, you know?
Right. And then that way you get a true sense of what your portion size actually is, because we're so off on like what an actual should be. Like we don't even really have a frame.
Yeah. When I created my meal plan, my ideal meal plan, I was over by like 1,000 calories. And I was like, girl, get yourself under control. Like this is why you're in trouble. So I had to, and that was my ideal, you know, meal plan. So I had to start like plucking stuff here and there to balance out those macros. And then I was like, oh, okay, well, instead of 3 eggs, I'm going to eat 2 eggs. And instead of like putting 2 tablespoons of butter, I'm going to put 1.5, or, you know, whatever the case may have been. So you kind of have to play around with the macros. You can't just like throw it up in the air and be like, oh, whatever happens, happens. It doesn't work that way. You're going to run into trouble quick. Because I have so many people that are like, oh my God, I already ate all my carbs and it's barely 10 o'clock in the morning. And I'm like, what the hell? You know, like, how did that happen? How did that happen? So, you know, like you can get in trouble pretty quick, and that's why you don't lose weight, because you don't realize all these carbs, or, you know, you're overeating on fat or calories or protein. Calories do matter. They do matter in any diet that you give me. That's going to be like the base thing right there, like calories.
And then who else was this? Someone just, they were just saying, I've lost 18 pounds in 2 weeks and no one can tell me nothing. And don't wait for them to tell you anything. I'm telling you, I lost 40 pounds and no one had mentioned a word. But I was feeling good. So I was like, I don't care. You know, like I was like, I'm feeling good and I know the weight is coming off. And eventually someone is going to ask me, girl, what are you doing? Yeah. Exactly. And then the follow-up to that, Ray Cellular said she hasn't really told anyone that she's doing keto, probably from some of the stigma that people get, I'm guessing. Only her immediate family, but she's already lost 60 pounds on keto, so that's amazing. So Kissy Jazz said, what meat should we stay away from on keto? I love barbecue ribs, but I'm not sure how good they are for you on keto, even if paired with broccoli. It's probably what you do for the ribs, I would say. But
the ribs are fine. The barbecue is what's not fine. Like you can have the ribs. You just cannot have the brown sugar coating on it or the barbecue sauce.
Right.
And, you know, there are goodness, now we have keto-friendly barbecue sauces out there.
Yeah.
So, you know, there are like a stevia sweetened one, and there, you know, there's like a lot of them out there. I know, actually, I lied. There's like two or three of them out. Three. There's three of them out there. I lie. There's three of them out there that I can think of. Three. And one of them is like my favorite, but I'm not gonna say names because I don't want to, you know, say that, oh, like that's her favorite. But one of them is my absolute favorite. Y'all will catch it on my stories and on my timeline occasionally, because I mean, I'm in Texas. We eat barbecue. Right. Like, you know, we eat barbecue all the time. I carry my barbecue in my purse. I'm like Beyonce, but with barbecue. Barbecue. No, I don't care. I do carry hot sauce too. I'm Mexican, but yeah, like I carry hot sauce and barbecue in my bag. But yeah, no, I do carry my own stuff everywhere that I go, and y'all think that I'm joking, but it's funny when we have meetups and when we go out to eat with other people, and they're like, "What, are you pulling out bread from your?" Yes, I am pulling out bread from my purse. You know, like, you better believe I'm gonna stay on track. I'm not gonna derail. I mean, like, I'm gonna stay on track, and I'm gonna stay focused on my goals.
Exactly. And then let's see. Teach to Fit says, does fat break a fast? So I would say it depends on how much, but yeah, technically it does. So if it does. I mean, if you're taking, like, again, the exogenous ketones, or like we said, the high bulletproof coffee, like, you're not going to be considered fasting with drinking 400 calories, even if it is pure fat. But that's,
in my opinion, it does break the fast.
Yeah. And I think most people agree that breaks the fast. So I think sometimes people confuse things with, well, because fat doesn't spike insulin as much as protein or carbs, then maybe it's okay to have, but it's still breaking your fast. And so again, remember, if you're going overboard on the fat, your body is going to preferentially choose to burn that before you access your own storage.
It's like gasoline. You're like pumping yourself with fat for your body to run off of. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then someone, I think it was Ruled Me was the site that you said. Somebody asked what was the site. And flipping through. Okay, I'm going to cut off these in a second. They keep coming, but it says, what are your thoughts on carb cycling, keto for 3 to 4 days, and then 1 day of healthier carbs, potatoes, whole wheat breads, etc.? I don't think you carb cycle, right?
I don't carb cycle, and I'm not a bodybuilder, a massive bodybuilder that needs it. You know, like, I think that carb cycling is for people that needed because they are bodybuilders, or because they have, like, you know, something that they need to compensate, you know, with. But most of us are not bodybuilders, and most of us don't do that type of exercise. So I feel like a lot of people that do carb cycling is either people that are already at their goal weight and that can get away with it and they exercise a lot, or people that are looking for an excuse to eat junk food on the weekend.
And that's the carb cycle. Yeah, possibly.
It's a slippery slope. I mean, I miss potatoes too, you know, and I miss corn, and I miss all these things. And, you know, if I carb cycle, what's going to happen is that those 3 days are going to turn into a week, and then, you know, eventually, maybe not in the beginning. Maybe in the beginning I'm like focused, and I'm going to like jump back on real quick. And then eventually it's going to snowball into this like out of control thing where all of a sudden I'm sitting there not knowing how I got to this point all over again. Right. So, like, you got to remember that most of that stuff is what got us in trouble in the first place.
Yeah, no, agreed. And if you think of it, 3 days out of 7, I mean, that's basically half your week. That's like half
it takes that long to get you back into ketosis. Why would you do that? You know, it's like, it makes no sense.
Yeah, that's half your week.
Again, it's like for people that are like super into bodybuilding and into like heavy duty exercising, that can get away with that.
That makes sense. Someone asked, so I'm going to read it, but I'm just going to say you're going to have to talk with your doctor, unfortunately, or fortunately, whatever. But what do you do if you took medication that could have messed up your metabolism? I mean, you got to go over your meds with your personal physician and see if there's things. There definitely are medications that promote weight gain. And so
Mm-hmm.
I would say that is where seeing obesity medicine specialist comes into play, because they
Yeah.
should be aware of which medications do and don't, and be able to offer you healthy, weight neutral alternatives. Because some medications do make you gain weight. Is Advil keto friendly? So in general, Advil, NSAIDs like ibuprofen, aspirin, all of those things should not be taken on an empty stomach. So I'm not sure what you mean by like keto friendly, but just in general, medications like Advil should never be taken on an empty stomach because they can give you GI bleeds. What scale do you use to measure? I'm assuming that's about your food. Do you
Yeah,
have a scale you
I do.
measure?
Everyone knows that I have a per scale.
Perfect.
I carry this scale with me like if it was my cell phone. So it's always it's always in my bag, and it's in my bag right now actually. And it's a little green scale that's a portable scale, and whenever I go to a restaurant, it just opens up and it becomes this big scale where I can weigh my food and log it, and then I you know compact it again and put it in my purse, and it goes with me everywhere. But
No,
I also saw one at Target. I think more people are starting to use these things now. So I saw one at Target that's very similar as well, and it's pretty cheap. It's like $17. It wasn't that bad.
oh, that's not bad. That's not bad at all.
Nah.
If someone said, do you have any groups on Facebook that you recommend people joining, or that you have personal favorites that are keto support group friendly? I'm sure there's tons of keto
There
groups
is a
on
ton of
Facebook.
Facebook groups, and I actually used to be more active on them.
Mm-hmm.
But man, like I find that people that get on Facebook, I'm not knocking them down, but I find that people that get on the Facebook groups are newbies, like new people that are looking, for this stuff, and then they want to like police everything that you post. Oh, you're not supposed to have that. Oh, that's not good.
The
And I'm like,
keto
but I've
police.
been doing this. Yeah, exactly. I'm like, but I've been doing this for a long time, and I know what works for me. I'm just trying to share, like,
We're
in
all
case someone out there
individuals.
wants. Yes, and they don't understand that keto is different for everybody. So
Yeah.
I like, I was like, I'm just gonna stick to my Instagram because nobody can tell me anything. This is my
It's your
group, my
gram,
page.
right? It's your
Yeah,
gram.
this is my Instagram, and if somebody wants to come at me and tell me that I'm not doing keto right, they can get blocked.
Right. I was going to
So,
say, good luck with that.
yeah.
The page that I would recommend if you're looking for one, you would have to buy the services, though. They're not expensive from what I hear, but Ketogenic Girl does sell meal plans, and she has like her own chat group. And from what I understand, I feel like her plans are pretty cheap. I mean, they're not like you're paying
They probably
thousands of
are.
dollars.
I haven't seen the prices on it, but I don't think they're expensive either.
Yeah. So, I mean, I would say if you're really serious and you want some more guided support, the stuff that I've heard her put out, at least on her podcast, are very science-based, very sound. So I would say if you're looking for someone to actually give you more personalized advice, I would say check out her. And
Yeah, but but I have to say something. I don't rely on it 100% because the thing about this, and I've done this before, like I've done meal plans for my friends and stuff like that, and I can feed you, like spoon feed you this food, literally. And it's at the end of the day, it's up to you to do it right or not. Even if I spoon feed this to you, if you behind my back go and do something, like go eat something that you're not supposed to, then like what good is it to get all the help in the world? So it comes down to you. Like there's a million people out there that can give you meal plans and all kinds of stuff that can help you out, but at the end of the day you have to find something that works for you, because these are general meal plans that are for a lot of different people. So you have to find what works for you.
Right.
So I mean it's a good tool to get started,
rely on it.
But you shouldn't rely on it 100%. Yeah.
Well, and then other websites too. One I point patients to, I like dietdoctor.com in terms
I love dietdoctor.com.
I think they have a lot of good free information, first of all, because I'm all about the free. And then there's some other things. So Guys, there were a lot of questions, but I think we got to let Elena go because she's already talked to us for a while. But everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. And I think the take home is just that there are multiple ways to improve your health. Look for a whole, real foods-based lifestyle. You know, not a bunch of packaged foods, not a bunch of people selling you stuff out of the box. Get back to the basics, single ingredient foods. But don't be afraid of keto. If you think that's going to fit in your lifestyle, don't be afraid of it. There is research supporting that it's a great way to live. So, and like we said before, it's not the only way to live. But
not the only way.
It's not the only way to live. Plant-based, vegetarian, all these different things. But you know, give it a try if you feel like it'll fit in your lifestyle.
Yeah, so, for sure.
Yay! Well, thank you so much for joining us, and you have a great evening.
Thank you too. I'll talk to you soon.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.